This is a Transportation TV News special report. AASHTO Annual Meeting 2012, Pittsburgh. I'm Tony Dorsey reporting.
It really is a great opportunity to be here today.
Republican Representative Bill Schuster discussed the value of bipartisanship during remarks November 19th at the AASHTO Annual Meeting. 1 week later, the Pennsylvania native would be named chairman of the powerful U.S. House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee.
Over the last several years, 10 years, even transportation has become a partisan issue. One of the things we're going to try to do is reestablish it as a bipartisan issue.
Anticipating his appointment to succeed Florida Republican John Mica as T&I chairman, Schuster told the audience of transportation professionals he was going to hit the ground running. High on his priority list will be the Water Resources Development Act.
It's expired. We're operating on continuing resolutions, dealing with the Corps of Engineers, the inland waterways, and our harbors and our ports in this country. And as I said a little earlier, I don't know how anybody can stand up and talk about trade when you're not talking about our ports and our transportation system. They need the investment. We're going to have to reauthorize in 2013 the PREA, the rail reauthorization bill, dealing with the freights, dealing with passenger rail. And then finally, in 2 years from now, we're going to reauthorize the highway bill, transportation bill, which will be September of 2014. And we'll start working on that almost immediately, holding hearings, trying to figure out which direction and build that coalition that I think is going to be necessary.
Once Chairman-elect Schuster receives the gavel in January, he says he'll begin working to build consensus around a plan to pay for the next surface transportation bill. Federal funding for highway and transit programs was also on the minds of many of the more than 700 attendees at the AASHTO Annual Meeting. Popular among the 25 forums, track sessions, meetings, and workshops held during the 5-day conference were those focused on finding ways to sustain the Highway Trust Fund after MAP 21 expires on September 30th, 2014.
So I see over the next year and a half as many meetings like this one.
Michael Bridges is the Undersecretary of Management and Finance for the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development. As chairman of AASHTO's Subcommittee on Transportation Finance and Policy, he's leading this jam-packed session on transportation funding. He says a lot of work has to be done, and the clock is ticking.
There's going to be some subgroups formed to start looking at policy recommendations, and then I would say a year to a half a year ahead of the time that we need to get something in front of Congress, AASHTO board will consider some recommendations and will present those up to Congress, and hopefully they'll be adopted.
3/4 of the AASHTO Board of Directors were on hand Monday, November 19th, voting to approve Rhode Island Director of Transportation Michael Lewis, AASHTO President for 2013-2014.
I take it very seriously, but I also look at it as an opportunity to work with some really talented people and to learn from them, because one of the best strengths of AASHTO, this institution that's been together for almost 100 years, is that we learn from one another. We borrow techniques and tactics that are used elsewhere around the country and that have been successful, and we take them and we're able to import them. We're so much stronger as a group than we are as individuals.
The board also named Mike Hancock, Secretary of the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, as AASHTO Vice President. And the board appointed Frederick G. Bud Wright, AASHTO Executive Director, effective February 2nd.
I'm truly excited to be joining this great organization and to work with our members, the Congress, the transportation interests, this administration, to address the significant funding and policy challenges that lie ahead. I know it's going to be no small task, but we can address these challenges, and we owe the American people the world's greatest transportation network. So I'm looking forward to being a part of addressing that.
Wright will succeed Executive Director John Horsley when he retires on February 1st. And this programming note, look for President Lewis's complete interview coming up soon, right here on Transportation TV. And next week, as we continue our special report on the AASHTO Annual Meeting, we'll tell you about the impact Superstorm Sandy is having on transportation planners and builders. And we'll show you who won this year's America's Transportation Awards. and what they plan to do with their $10,000 cash prizes. That's our show for this week. Thanks for watching.